Here's a vintage ghost video taken back when most people did not know how to edit anything at all. A ghost hunter travels to an abandoned house in Virginia on a road in the woods with no streetlights and no neighbors. A CCTV system is set up, which looks old-fashioned by today's standards but was state-of-the-art back in 2002, and at 8:13 at night, this pale ghost in the window is caught on camera. The ghost in the window is not the investigator. He's standing behind the camera adjusting it at the time. According to him, this window is 7 feet off the ground with no way for anyone to get up there in the first place. I was thinking it was a passing car, but he says the street was quiet as always, so maybe it was an apparition after all. Did spirits latch onto the relics housed in this Titanic replica in Branson, Missouri? YouTuber The Omar Gosh Vlogs and his team explore the Titanic Museum in this mysterious video. Each of the museum goers is given a passport, like they're passengers themselves on the Titanic.
George Wright, and you get to kind of hold on to one of these people, like they actually make you feel like you're a passenger yourself.
They use the spirit box in one of the rooms to see if any of the Titanic's victims linger.
Are there any spirits in this room with us?
I heard tape like 3 times.
What's your name?
They seem to get multiple responses, and as they continue, they get many more.
Are there any spirits here that were talking to me the first time at the other exhibit?
Although I didn't see any paranormal activity throughout the exhibit, these legit responses to Omar's questions makes me think that there's really something to this place, fitted with a replica grand staircase. It also just seems like an exhibit I'd want to visit and explore myself. A YouTuber named The Maniac sets out with his cousin to explore the back roads of Maine. Within 5 minutes, a vehicle pulls up and somebody gets out while pointing at the ground. He doesn't identify himself, and he certainly isn't a police officer, so I think the Maniac was in the right to try and get away. I will admit that they were going pretty fast earlier, so maybe that's why this person was so upset. Anyway, approximately 2 minutes later, they see him again, but he is already turning with a car behind him and unable to swing back around. This time, the Maniac speeds by him for a final look, and sure enough, the man is wearing the same gray shirt and watch as before. The Maniac speeds off again before the man has a chance to get out of his car and try and make another attempt to stop him. This father and son paranormal team is about to check into a haunted hotel. Published by Paranormal Boys in December of 2021. When they first enter, they find everything in disarray. They sit down around the table, and it sounds like something has joined them. As they're using their paranormal devices, they hear a strange breathing sound, and then another unexplained noise.
Oh, did you hear that? No?
Has someone taken a room at this haunted hotel? If so, they may never leave. First, let me give a fair warning to headphone users that this next clip is kind of loud. A YouTuber named Sapphire Rose says that her toy bird has been doing really weird things as of late. Most of the time it plays cheerful, pre-recorded bird noises like it's supposed to, but occasionally it will sound like this.
Oh my god! Why is he doing this?
Sapphire Rose also says that the bird will sometimes make an even louder shriek that sounds like it came straight from the underworld, but she didn't manage to record it that day. Some people left her a comment saying that her toy simply needs new batteries, but if that were the case, then I can't help but wonder why it sometimes sounds completely normal and other times like it's completely possessed. Have you ever heard something in nature that doesn't sound natural at all? This video was cross-posted by Cursed Curses to the Chills Narrator subreddit, who thought these sounds were weird enough to share. Originally posted to What Is This by Sir M Sport, the Redditor explains that the strange sound seems to be originating from the woods and the sky surrounding his house in rural Georgia. He said although his phone ran out of battery, he heard the sounds long after the recording ends. The user asks the Reddit community for help in identifying the source of these sounds, after asking a few of his neighbors, who said they hadn't heard such noises before. One of these neighbors, who lives on a hill, said the sounds definitely seem to be coming directly from the sky. Listen closely. The noises sound like irregular high-speed traffic for a moment. But then another tone enters in, like a spaceship door opening. The murmur continues, oscillating slightly. There are many theories in the comments, with Wolfish Fluff coming up with one of the most likely theories, suggesting that it sounds like a power plant or generator farm. He notes the revving up sound could be the activation. He writes, "My guess is that there's one of these facilities somewhere in your area, and the sound is coming from the sky because you're far enough away that basically the sound is bouncing off the atmosphere and then traveling to you. This would cause the muffling and the distortion." Other less likely theories include alligators, unknown flying objects, or a big tunnel. Any other suggestions? What do you think these sounds may be? What hides in the shadows can oftentimes be shadows themselves. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mego White, the Redditor explains that she and her husband were away from home over a weekend and set up the motion detector Alfred camera app in their room for the surveillance. When they returned from their trip, they were met with this unusual and terrifying video. The clip shows a fuzzy bedroom backdropped by a doorway with either a light on beyond or a natural source of light casting inside the other room. That light shifts as something is apparently moving enough to set off the motion sensor. In fact, that something appears to pass right across the doorway, blocking out the light beyond for a moment. You can make out a distinct figure. It's more like a shadow or a vague or even invisible figure that still somehow manages to distort the light. There is definite movement, but from what, we can't know for sure. Redditor JJ740 asks if there was an intrusion, to which Meg answers that all the doors and windows were locked and nothing was missing. She also notes that strange things have been occurring in this house for a matter of months. Like what? Meg explains we can always see a shadow walking out of the office through the wall into my closet, and I always thought I was seeing things until we caught this on camera. She also says in another comment that her kids have heard people talking, and her 2-year-old has even started laughing at something in empty rooms of the home. A Redditor writes, "That's actually genuinely creepy." Of course, as with every potentially paranormal clip, you have your insect theories, but most agree that the clip looks legit and not edited or faked. What do you think? Are you freaked out? I certainly am. If you have a fear of heights, you might want to step away slowly from the edge of this video. El Camino del Rey, or the King's Little Path, is a high walkway in Spain that traverses a narrow gorge in El Charro near Malaga. Originally built to allow workers at a nearby hydroelectric power plant to transport materials, the walkway was first constructed at the turn of the 20th century. 3 feet in width and 330 feet above the river below, the walkway twists and turns around the steep walls of the gorge in a way that will make your head spin. It has been partially closed for more than 10 years after it fell into disrepair. In fact, it was once called the world's most dangerous walkway, as 5 passings occurred. Across only 2 years, renovations allowed the walkway to be reopened in 2015. Going back to the original, by 2006, much of the path had deteriorated. Several sections of the original concrete had completely collapsed, leaving large open gaps only traversable by the steel beams. The handrails were pretty much non-existent, with only a safety wire in its steed. Regardless, Daredevil still walked the King's Path, and passings occurred regularly. Published in March of 2011 by AM, this video shows what it was like to walk the King's Path when it was in disrepair. The crumbling concrete stairs are guarded only by a short length of handrail. As the hiker makes his way upward, you can see the drop below is no joke. A single misplaced step can throw you hundreds of feet to your demise. Despite the risk, you can see why people put themselves in harm's way. The solitude surrounded by the glittering river below and the jagged rocks of the gorge is an experience worth having, not to mention the adrenaline rush of being a misstep away from passing on. Still, if your heart is pounding just by watching this video, I wouldn't recommend it. I certainly wouldn't do it either. Look closer at your family photos. You might spy something alarming. Watch to the right of the kid dressed in black. Did you see that? A ghostly figure appears to run out from behind him. Is this ghost camera shy? I don't know about you, but I can't come up with an explanation for this. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. What scary story is this one telling us? What happens when you're on an extreme ghost hunt that goes horribly wrong? Published to YouTube in July of 2020, Simply Sereth can answer that question. He suggests using earphones to get the full effect of what happened to him and his crew when they got trapped in by unseen forces while exploring this bungalow. In the video, they wander through the dark abandoned house. It's raining outside, which adds to the creepy ambiance inside the home with its empty windows and doors. Nearly straight away, they keep hearing noises that makes them jump and search around for the source. The home is nightmarish, with bats or birds swooping down from the ceiling every so often. At one point, at 14 minutes 30 seconds, they hear footsteps above. At another point, there's a loud bang at the end of the hallway they're hovering in. While talking through the spirit box, they feel like something is at the end of the hallway again. They run for a moment, but then stall to talk again to the spirit box. They must have felt trapped like rats as they kept hearing noises on opposite ends of the hallway. But thankfully, they eventually escaped with their lives. But did something else come with them? This video does not include a haunted Ouija board per se, but a woman named Carmela as she is being tormented by spirits unleashed from a Ouija board. Now she is being rushed to the hospital as she says strange and evil things, her face twisting as tightly as the muscles will allow. When the emergency medical technicians tell her to wake up, she sits up and an evil spirit appears to speak through her. Carmela lets her head drop back and begins to thrash back and forth, while the spirit that's inside of her continues to say cryptic messages. The video is believed to come from Spain, but not much else is known. I highly doubt that this has been staged because this looks like a real medical emergency, so she is probably either suffering from a delusion or she really was ravaged by spirits. They say that you can become possessed if you do not properly banish the ghosts at the end of the Ouija board summoning, so maybe that's what happened to poor Carmela. According to this paranormal investigator, a genie cursed him in his own voice. Let's enter this haunted home. While speaking to the spirits of the place, he hears an EVP.
Buradaki varlık kendini belli etsin. Bir işaret versin. Buradaki yaşayan insanları kaçıran varlık kendini belli etsin.
When he walks into the kitchen, something disturbing happens. And then the spirit gets aggressive, but nothing is inside the room.
Bana bir iş yapmışsın.
When he enters the bedroom, he sees it. But as he gets closer and closer, is this a magic trick? Well, it could be the genie himself performing a practical joke. I could also see how this could be faked, but then again, the knocking. Only a genie could disappear like this. A YouTuber named ShayXL and her friend, Brandy Lynn, are trying on various outfits and walking around the mall when they apparently attract a follower. This is the first time they notice him, and they sound more annoyed than scared.
Why does this guy keep following us? Like, literally, he keeps following us. I'm in the mirror.
Compare this to the fourth time they see him, and you can tell they really are in fear. No one should have to go through this, and I feel really bad for them.
We just saw him again, so that's the third time that we saw him. Oh my god, he's following us, he's following us.
The way he keeps glancing at them, while trying not to be obvious, makes me wonder how much practice he was doing this before. He obviously cannot control himself and keeps needing to take another look. He refuses to give up his pursuit and continues pretending to look at clothes. I guess it's possible, but somehow I seriously doubt he has more interest in these bright red dresses than he does in them. All of this might have been a coincidence, if not for this part, where he walks directly towards them at the end. In my opinion, he only stops and turns when he realizes they have his face on video.
Look, he's right there. He's literally following us.
Still, even knowing that he is caught on camera, he still passes them once more, and this time turns his head to stare. Is this all a big misunderstanding, or is he getting one final look in the most creepy way possible? Vijama is taking the 24-hour challenge in a haunted house that burned down 10 years ago, claiming the lives of an entire family inside. All throughout the night they feel nervous and on edge, as if they're being watched by something that does not appreciate their presence at all.
No, I heard something in there.
Despite feeling persistently watched, the two friends manage to fall asleep for a while. Then this YouTuber is suddenly awakened by his friend, who claims to have heard something.
He was asleep, bro. It was like, I just heard a massive bang, so I'm gonna see what it is.
Vijama looks really tired and worn down during this scene, which makes me think it could be real. They're checking out the room where the noise was coming from, when suddenly they feel like they're being watched again.
That's probably the gas fan.
What the was that? Alex?
It could be the camera lighting, but I feel like I definitely see a shadowy figure retract into the doorway as soon as they turn around. Watch this part again in slow motion and tell me if you see any strange fluttering movements in the doorway. The cameraman bravely goes into the room where the shadow last retreated and finds a very tiny unnatural doorway leading to who knows where. At this point, they've seen enough and quickly exit without completing the challenge or finding out where the narrow entrance goes. This video posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Exploring with Eric is another random Randonautica adventure. Only this adventure took its victims somewhere that no one would choose to end up, the abandoned site of a witch's ritual. Eric writes, myself and Veronica unexpectedly found a ritual site and it was beyond disturbing. Directed by the app into the middle of nowhere at night, the pair wander through the wilderness to the random destination set out for them and arrive at an old rocky structure that looks like it's been around for a good while. The abandoned site is littered with recognizable graffiti alongside symbols that aren't so recognizable. Although the place appears to have been frequented by others, these others may not have all been innocent random Randonauticers or taggers, but rather more nefarious individuals. After exploring an enormous empty tank outside, they head inside the stone structure. This is where things get freaky. Inside is a bizarre and creepy sight. Encircled by a red ring with votive candles surrounding it, they discover a piece of paper scrunched up on the floor. As they attempt to unfurl it to see what's written, they keep hearing things. Veronica says it sounds like someone laughing. They decide to leave, but they take the paper with them. Once in the car, they open it and find the messages written in Spanish. According to YouTuber Luisa Gutierrez, it reads in English, "It's a trap, my spirit Marlene here. Please say my name 3 times. There also appears to be a date at the end." What does it all mean? Eric and Veronica may have just cursed themselves. While spending the night in a haunted location in Saskatchewan, Canada, Redditor Purgatory Adventures felt the lightest touch. First, they see a figure on the Connect.
There it is again. Can you wave to us if that's you?
This is like directly right in front of me.
Can you wave if that's you? Whoa, it just picked up its hand. Can you wave? Can you wave to us?
They ask the figure to put both arms up, and it complies.
Thank you so much. Can you put both arms up in the air? Can you put them both up? Can you put the right and left? Oh, one up. Dude, can you hold them up?
The figure is reluctant to reach for his hand.
Hand away.
Can you reach for my hand? Can you reach for it? Can you grab?
What the?
Can you reach for it?
But at last, he reaches out.
For my hand.
Oh, there he is.
Whoa.
There it is.
Whoa, I felt that.
It just touched
I felt it.
While some believe this is a ghost, others think it's an interaction between people in parallel universes.
I felt it touch my hand.
I've gotta say, I prefer that explanation. A YouTuber named Lanzo has a haunted ranch that he is afraid to visit. He knows at least one of the buildings is haunted because his uncle told him about a full conversation that he had with a strange man who said that he was a demon, and then promptly and mysteriously disappeared right in front of him on the spot. Ever since then, the 1-acre property has been overrun with paranormal activity.
Just from that day and now on, it's always been like creepy for me and my cousins to come here at night. That I heard something that was scared.
Do you guys hear that?
He hears scary whispering voices haunting the woods nearby and quickly shakes the thought away. But I think I might have heard the whispering voices too, followed by other scary noises that may or may not have been the wind. It's 3 a.m. and as they approach, they can feel the paranormal energy feeding off of their fear. Their equipment refuses to focus on one paranormal hotspot, and they know it's because a ghost is haunting them.
Right there.
What the f***, you guys?
And I'm gonna input
Their night vision and motion tracking paranormal equipment detect a super tall figure standing in the same place they felt was haunted, and it's making the dogs bark like crazy too. The animals are familiar with Lanzo, so I think these pets are having a ghost sighting of their own.
There's literally a figure right there.
The dogs aren't even facing them, further evidence that something paranormal has their interest.
Something's clearly back there.
And even the horse seems to freak out as well. I feel sorry for all of the terrifying encounters that these poor animals probably have on a regular basis living on this haunted ranch. The horse begins moving frantically at 6 minutes and 58 seconds, and then they detect a ghost trying to climb some firewood to hitch a ride. The panicking animal sways back and forth to get away from the apparition, but to no avail. I don't know if this horse is freaking out over a ghost sighting, or if it's just asking them for some food. This is a 3 a.m. video though, so I don't think the horse should be hungry.
We noticed that there was a figure that was dancing with the horse like next to it. Like literally right there, you guys, like I'm getting the chills. I'm terrified right now.
Behind this gate is where the dogs were barking at something, and that's when they get really scared because their paranormal equipment goes off again.
I literally can't feel my feet, like
It's starting to detect something.
dude.
They need to go around the building to see what's on the other side of the gate, but they hardly get a few steps before their camera goes out of focus.
Over here.
And in the woods, they hear a really weird voice, like laughter. When they consult their paranormal equipment for a translation, it interprets only one word.
If there's anyone here with us, give us a sign.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, no.
And it utters this phrase. A single ghost orb flies into them. I wouldn't be surprised if this ranch was haunted by skinwalkers after all. Skinwalkers are paranormal tricksters who will often haunt ranches built on ancient prairie lands. So with this in mind, a ghost sighting on this ranch would make sense. Abdullah Al-Anbari is followed by what he describes as a ghoul when he explores an old neighborhood that was abandoned long ago. His stalker appears to be a silhouette, even under a high-powered light that brightens everything around it.
Bismillah.
It could be someone wearing long flowing robes, or it could be a shadow person. Maybe it's just me, but the ghoul looks much bigger here at 5 minutes and 54 seconds when he sees it again. When it pokes around the corner at 8 minutes and 3 seconds, it seems much larger than the average sized person. Even from down this long hill, you can see this figure is indeed tall and strong looking too, as it lumbers ahead. It looks like the creature is going to follow him all the way home, if he lets it, so Abdullah recites a phrase, at which point the ghoul recoils from the sacred words, or perhaps more realistically, ducks under the window and is not seen again.
له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
Was this all planned, or did a phantom really spontaneously follow him? The Camino de la Muerte, or Road of Fate, lies in Bolivia along a 50-mile, rocky, narrow downhill road. The pass is so dangerous that the Inter-American Development Bank deemed it the most dangerous in the world in 1995. Somewhere between 200 to 300 people perish each year on this road. In this video, a bus driver attempts to traverse it to his own detriment. The road, which had recently suffered heavy rain, was prone to landslides, making the crossing even riskier business than usual. After ordering his passengers off the bus for safety's sake, They watch in terror as the driver attempts to creep across a very shaky and crumbling stretch of sand and rock, one that should not be crossed. The passengers attempt to help guide him, with one man in the video moving forward to motion that the driver move further away from the edge. It appears as if the bus will be successful in completing this crossing, but suddenly the ground crumbles beneath it and the bus tips, falling over the cliff, through the trees and down the mountain. While it's fortunate that the 50 passengers survived their devastating journey, sadly their driver did not. Vlad Reznov checks out an abandoned hospital in their scariest Russian paranormal exploration yet. After 14 minutes, they find an uncovered underground entrance.
Ну что там есть что-то? Аккуратно, ты понимаешь, что мы здесь точно не одни в этом доме?
Еще не знаете.
Влад, верни! Влад, погоди! Иди не туда!
His assistant sees it first, a ghost with long black hair over its face, standing in the doorway. They escape underground and don't look back, but I did, and here's my thoughts. Overall, I don't think this video is real. The figure looks like a generic Hollywood ghost sighting. The way it's positioned perfectly center in the doorway with hair over its face is a classic pose from The Ring, and unlikely to be real. There's no set rules for what a real ghost sighting looks like, but with that said, I'm pretty sure this is not it. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.